Good morning, guys. So I figured I would do a little bit of an update and show you what I've got growing in my garden. Right now, this big mass here is my Georgia rattlesnake watermelons. They're doing really great. This is 2 plants coming out right here. And then over here, this is my Hale's Best cantaloupe. It's doing really good. This is the first time I've had success with cantaloupe. Actually, and the bugs found it finally. I thought I was doing a good job hiding it, but you can see the bugs have been eating away, so I'm gonna have to start being more proactive about that. Yeah, oh, see, there's one right there. Yep, so anyway, but hopefully I'll get at least one of these to save seed from. I always struggle with cantaloupes. I haven't tried planting melons in the fall, but I think this year I'm going to try some of my varieties that I have more trouble with, like the cantaloupe, the Kajari melons. I don't have problems with bugs on my regular watermelons. It just seems to be on these softer rind ones. So I'm going to try those out in the fall. So over here, I have 2 Malabar spinach doing beautiful. And these are passion vines that a friend started for me, and they've gotten much bigger. They're doing really well. And I think I'm going to put them in 2 separate pots because I'm actually going to be putting these on my chicken coop. And the chickens dig the dirt around the edge, so I want to keep them in a pot under the chicken coop because I don't want them to dig them out. So I should probably separate these so they have optimal growing room, but they're doing great so far. And these as well, I'm putting them on my chicken coop, so these would get beautiful and massive. So that will be really nice. So back over to this garden bed, I have beautiful zinnia. I'm not sure the variety. I planted about 8 different zinnia varieties, so and I mixed them all up, so we'll see what they look like when they're opening. These are Jing Orange Okra. They're doing really well. Another okra down here. These all transplanted out really well. Last year I had problems where I had a lot of them dying when I transplanted them, but this year they all survived. This is a Corbaci pepper. It's a sweet pepper, very productive, and they turn red when they're ripe. I have harvested them when they were yellow and orange, and they're still really good. They taste the same. So you can harvest them at any time. That's another zinnia. Basically down the center of this whole bed, don't mind my obnoxious grass growing, the never-ending grass. I can never get it out, but these are all zinnias and okra all the way down the bed. So on this cattle panel, I have loofah gourds, which I'm really excited about. This is my first time growing them. This is actually 2, and I just left them together to grow on this half of the trellis. I am trying some silver slicer cucumbers this year, and they've just sprouted. Here's 1, 2, and 3. And I planted them across here, even though I know the loofah gets huge, because cucumbers don't usually last long in my area. So I figured by the time these, decide to go away, that this will be ready to go all over. So I figured that would be fine. These in the middle here, these Jing Orange Okra, are huge and beautiful, getting big quickly. Right here between my 2 cattle panels, I planted zinnias. I always think that's really pretty, and they usually will get really big and go out into the walkway a little bit, which I like. Another zinnia. And then on this cattle panel right here, I have Armenian yard-long cucumbers. I've never grown these before, but they all look really good, and none of them have died. And I actually planted extra thinking that some of them might die during transplant, because usually cucumbers are a direct sow type of deal. But I started these in pots, and then, you know, I transferred them out thinking some of them would die, but none of them died. So I had to put this little, this other little trellis here. Hopefully it's big enough to hold them up. These cucumbers are actually more like a melon. They're actually in the melon family, so that would be cool. And then over here I planted a Mongolian giant sunflower. It's probably not going to get super giant because it's between my squash and my cucumbers, but that's okay. So on this side of the bed, this is a Clay County yellow meat watermelon. I only have one, or actually two. This is two, but it's growing a lot slower than my other side, and it hasn't shown any flowers yet. So then I'm gonna get out of the bed here. Right here I have sweet orange glow melons that I started later than the others. Moon and Stars melons, and I love these. Look at the beautiful foliage with the yellow spots. Love the Moon and Stars. And then these are Alibaba watermelons. I've got two of those. And then I have sugar babies. These had a rough start. The sugar babies, they were super tiny and weren't really growing at first when I transplanted them, but they're doing a lot better now. Okay, so over in this garden bed I have another Zucchino rampicante squash, which the bugs have not found yet. So maybe I'll get that one to be okay because it's by itself. Have a beautiful zinnia. I'm really excited about this basil. It's called cardinal basil. It was bred for its beautiful flowers, and they're just, you know, I just direct sowed these. They popped up kind of randomly. I was almost out of seeds in the pack, so it looks like I got pretty good germination for what I sowed. And then there's another zinnia here. So on this cattle panel, I have Christmas pole lima beans, which are doing really well, starting to climb. You can see them going up. And then in front of it, I have tomatoes. These are all cherry varieties. Florida 91, some blueberries, cherry tomatoes, some sweetheart cherries. They're all doing really well. And I have a zinnia, another tomato. And then these are a new variety of squash I'm trying called sunburst squash, and the bugs are on them already. So we'll see if I get anything. Fall is the best for squash here in south of Florida. There's less bugs. But I have 3 of those. 2 of them died, like when I transplanted them. On this cattle panel, I have purple potted yard-long beans. They haven't started putting out runners yet, but they do look really good and healthy. Once these start, they just take off. And then this is my, sorry, my camera's in the way. This is my 1-year-old ghost pepper plant that I started last year around this time from seed. And I did prune it. There's a big old branch here, but it's covered in flowers like everywhere. And it's got fruit ripening on it. And then I have not planted out this part of my bed yet. I have lots of peppers and tomatoes to go in there. Got a bunch of volunteer beans popping up everywhere, but these won't grow through the summer here, so I just pull them, unfortunately. In this bed over here, I have a very large Cuban oregano plant, and it has flower spikes on it. I have a few sunflowers, and then these are sweet potatoes. The whole bed is full of sweet potatoes. These are Beauregard orange sweet potato. I just picked these starts up from like Home Depot, I think, or no, it was Lowe's. And then these are a purple sweet potato that I bought from Baker Creek last year, and I harvested them too early and I didn't get any potatoes, but they kept popping up throughout the entire year, and so I transferred them over here. And when I transplanted them, I thought they were dead. As you can see, this one kind of looks dead, but you can see it's coming back. So that's awesome. They're all coming back, and I put I think 5 of those in here, and then there's 6 Beauregard starts. So, and this is one of the Beauregard, just beautiful, and it's rooting and just going all over. So I'm happy with that. And then I did plant some random sunflowers in the bed too, to look pretty, to come up through the sweet potatoes. I have a big pile of dirt over there that I've been waiting to get delivered, to put in to amend the rest of my beds. So now that I have that dirt, I can clear this sad grassy bed out and plant this bed's gonna be lots of peppers and zinnias. I'll show you what I have in here that's staying, or really that's anything that's growing. So I have this yellow bell pepper, and it's doing really well. I actually bought this in the fall, and it was really sad looking, and it just didn't take off for the longest time. And I actually had this completely weeded and nice during that time, so I don't know why it wasn't, but I recently gave it some fish fertilizer to perk it up and pruned it down here to get the lower leaves off, and it seemed to really like it, so that's good. In this bed I also have a rosemary bush that's been growing here since I planted this last fall, and it's spring now. It's doing really well. And then I also have 2 sweet banana pepper plants that I'm going to be harvesting soon to make pickled banana peppers. Yum, I love pickled banana peppers. But it's doing really well. I also will harvest these sometimes just for salads. They just taste like a sweet pepper. They're really good when they're not pickled. And they're so productive that they're one of my most reliable pepper varieties that I grow. So I grow these every year. When my other peppers aren't sweet peppers, are going slow or something, these are always great because I know they're here, and every week when I make my salad for the fridge, I can just come out and pick a few and throw those in my salad. Okay, so before I show you my starts that I'm going to be putting in the ground, I figured I'd show you my last garden bed. This soil is terrible. I bought bagged soil for the first time, and I've always bought the big truckload of compost before. It's like $10 a truckload, or a yard, I think. But this one year, I wasn't able to get it with a truck. So my husband bought me soil, organic soil, just garden bed soil, and nothing grows in this, or if it does, it's very low nutrient. This pigeon pea has been here for like 5 months, poor thing, and it's so tiny. But everything I put in here is very unproductive. The only thing I've been able to successfully grow in here has been little cosmos and zinnias. Successfully, I did grow peppers. Even the weeds don't like it. See, there's like one weed. But yeah, it's super sandy and which is fine for some things like sweet potatoes, but no nutrient value. It's just not doing well. I did grow peppers in here and squash and Kajari melons, but I got 1 squash off of it, where in other places they were giving me 10 squash. And then I also grew peppers, but they just like were not as productive as my other ones that are out in their other garden beds. So even though the other ones are weedy, I still grow food in them, even though I have a hard time catching up with the weeds. But this one, nothing grows. So I'm looking forward to amending it with my truckload of soil. And now I'm going to show you what's going to go in the purple bed that needs to be weeded and this bed. Okay, so over here are my plant starts. These 3 back here are from my friend. She started me a honeydew, some sweet William flowers, and some onions. And then everything else I started. I have different cherry tomato varieties. I have lots of peppers, more peppers. These ones were started earlier than these. That's why there's such a big difference in the size. And once these get about a little bit bigger, about 6 inches tall, I like to pinch off the tops of my peppers to grow them bushier rather than tall and leggy. And then I have right here some more tomato varieties. And these tomatoes were started after these, which is why they are smaller. I have a few more zinnias to put out. And I have some lettuce basil that I'm going to be moving out, lime basil. I have 1 milkweed survivor. I planted a lot of milkweed, but only 1 survived. Some more lettuce basils that I haven't put out yet. These Carolina Reaper peppers, which aren't big enough for me to transplant yet. Then I just have some more tomatoes. And I'm really excited about these black-eyed Susan vines. They're supposed to be different color flowers besides yellow. They might be yellow, I don't know, but they have other colors too. And I'm excited about those. So all of these plants will be transferred. Oh, there's another milkweed. Hopefully it survives, so I have 2 milkweed left. But hopefully these plants will do well. So these are gonna go in the other 2 garden beds that I haven't filled yet. So lots of peppers, tomatoes, and a few zinnias left. So on my table here I have lettuce basil that I transplanted. This is thyme that I started. I put some zinnias in here. They may outgrow it, so I may need to move these. And I might put some other basil in here. I might put that lime basil in here and move these out to my beds. And this one, more lettuce basil around a zinnia. So thanks for hanging out with me. I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of zinnias I get popped up. There's a little bud starting right in the center. And I will keep you updated throughout the season. See you next time.